I'd like to go into a little more detail on the law, the universal law as I see it. Basically the binary logic, the yes and the no principle. On one side, you have the yes principles, allowance, acceptance, inclusion, and on the other you have the disallowance, the injunctions, the rejection, the exclusions. Now, I came to this by basically going for the greatest contrast I could imagine, which to me would be existence versus non-existence, which covers everything, pretty much. Everything that exists is covered by existence. Everything that doesn't exist, well, who knows what doesn't exist. If we can imagine it, it exists in some form or another. So existence versus non-existence, we have principles that facilitate each of those ideas, those two poles, which seem to be consistent with everything in this universe that we understand as a dual universe, a duality. Everything has opposing poles, not necessarily opposite, because there are no direct opposites in a spiral, only in a line or a circle, a loop, an infinite loop, so to speak, which we don't seem to have in the universe. We don't have anything that goes around forever and ever and ever. Everything is a sort of a spiral, and there are no direct opposites in a spiral. And so we have these principles that facilitate existence, and they're opposites. The principles that facilitate non-existence, the dysfunction, the disallowance, the rejection, the exclusion. And when you look at those and understand that everything we do is basically a choice. We choose one way or the other, right? And when we choose no, for instance, we're disallowing, we're rejecting and excluding, we're narrowing, excuse my nose, we're narrowing down our future possibilities, the choices that we're left with after we make those choices. On the other hand, if we allow, accept and include, we're also allowing, accepting and include the future possibility of further choices in either direction. So we're actually giving us more choices when we choose to allow and accept and include. And so you can see that when you say yes as opposed to no, you're opening up possibilities and opportunities. And when you say no, you're closing them down. You're shutting them down. And this is how all this stuff works. Because fear is basically the no principle. And what we call love is effectively the yes principle, which is unconditional, isn't it? If you say yes, you're not creating a condition. You're allowing the future possibility of further no choices. You're allowing yourself to say no down the line, or yes down the line, or whatever. You're just allowing everything. You're accepting everything, and you're including everything. So that's an unconditional principle, similar to what we call love. And everything, see, really, where I came from in all this was understand, if you have omniscience, or omnipotence, and omnipotence, and omnipresence, there are no limits. There are no conditions. It's a bit like a superconductor. There is no resistance to any flows of current in any form. Everything just is everywhere at the same time if it wants to be. It sort of knows everything, obviously. If it can be everywhere at the same time, it can see everything, it can know everything. And it can do anything, because it can be anywhere at once. It can manipulate everything. So, let's say that's pure consciousness. We came from that place. We came from that place of pure consciousness. And we had the opportunity, the ability to make any choice we wanted. But, why do we need to make choices if we already know everything, if we already are everything, if there already is everything in existence? What's the point? So, maybe we decided we want, well, could there be more than there is? Who knows? Maybe we just decided we wanted to find out if there was more than everything. Maybe we decided to create that in different forms. The experience of limitation is what I keep coming back to. In any case, the logic of choice, the binary logic that seems to be the constructor of our universe, just like it is a computer program, is a mixture of yes and no choices. From that point of view, from the original omniscience, omnipotence, and all that, obviously we have to start this binary logic off. Everything starts with a yes switch, but then we have to have those no choices to limit the possibilities. And effectively, every time we create a no choice, we create a threshold of relativity. We create something. We solidify, basically. We slow down that original omnipotence, that omnipresence. We slow it down in a sense. And that negative choice, that no choice, as this logic expands in a tree-like fashion from the original instruction, whether the original instruction was a yes or a no, it must have been a yes to kick the process off, and who knows how it's formed, but it seems to me everything comes back to that logic, and every time you make a no choice, you're creating a threshold of relativity, which from the latter part of the logic, the construction or the tree of that logic, which is similar to the tree of life in a sense, you can't see back to the source through that negative, through that no choice, without converting that no choice into a yes, without accepting it, without including it in your awareness, in your perspective, in your ability to look at it and just accept it and allow it for what it is. Then you can see through that. Then you can see the bigger picture behind that. Yeah. Which is consistent with the way I learn. When I accept and allow, I start to see the bigger picture. And when I look at probabilities, I can see that just if we left that logic on its own, to run on its own, without conscious choices, choosing the yes and no's, if we just let it to run its course by sheer probability, sheer chance, because the yes choice has a propensity to expand available choices, and the no choice diminishes the further choices, further available choices, and the possibility of exploring those choices, then just through probability, perpetual expansion is guaranteed, is ensured by through probability, by the bias that the yes choice will always trump the no choice, because the no choices will destroy themselves. Any say consciousness, any person continually making no choices is going to destroy themselves. In a sense, it's a form of natural selection, and probably the reason why, as we get denser and denser physically, we have shorter lifespans. Denser and denser in thought physically. Even in thought, we have shorter lifespans. I've found great health benefits in broadening my perspective and my horizons, and seeing the bigger picture. As I clear my mind, it clears my body. Everything feels better, not just my rate of thinking. My ability to perceive greater concepts and larger contexts, but my body reflects that. It's like a hand-me-down situation. I physically experience these clearings, as I've mentioned before, very physically through a lot of pain in my body at first from unblocking channels that have been blocked up for many, many years, and the pain of those poisons coming through it and being cleaned up by my lymphatic system, which has become severely overloaded at times. But it's all part of the process. So that's probably the most important thing to get out there, is that logic, because that's helped me greatly in navigating my spiritual experiences, intuitive and synchronistic experiences, which have become so intense it's not funny. But it is funny too. The universe has a wicked sense of humour. It's full of consciousness, and everybody laughs. Everybody has a good time. And it seems to me that we are an important part of this creation. We're an important part of bringing it all together. It's like the other end of the spectrum, and it's also the way I learn. You go to both extremes and bring it back and meet in the middle, at the median point. It's like each time we extend the physical density further and further away, and perhaps we start losing ourselves. We get too far in the physical. Then we reach back toward our source, and without beliefs, without preconceptions of what it should be, we see it for what it really is. And for me, that's just logic. As far as this construct goes, this physical construct that we live in, this duality, it's all based on logic. And from seeing that, I've been able to put the pieces together and bring them to that median point. And from there, opens up a whole new dimension. Dimensions are another thing I want to discuss. Because I experience, weird shit, but basically I experience psychological dimensions depending on where my mind's at. We're getting into 13.5 minutes. I'll leave that for another audio recording. The law is the important thing for me, and understanding that saying no to a no is not necessarily saying no. It's basically, it's a yes, isn't it? You're cancelling out the no's. So you disallowance is allowing, really. So it works for discernment and for when you're making choices. You can see where something's coming from. You can see whether it's coming from the no or the yes principles, from the fear or the love. And obviously everything's a mixture of all those principles in great complexity and often great complication. But everything has a median point. Everything duality has a middle, has a balance, has a middle ground. And that's what we can discern from any input, any information, any communication, as well as the choices we make. That's very important. It's helped me out a lot, an awful lot, in navigating things, experiences that would have taken me into fear if I hadn't been able to catch it, to see where it's coming from, and change my direction. And that's basically what it's all about. Again, it's just direction. There is no this is that or that is. It's just direction. We choose which way we want to go every step of the way.